Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another episode of The Complete Guide to Marvel Rivals. If you don't know already, my name is Cureless. I am a Peak Eternity player and continue to play the game to this day. It's nice to meet you. Every single day, I'm going to be making another episode talking about another high-level concept in Marvel Rivals. My overall goal is to help people become more confident in their overall gameplay and achieve their next peak rank. Anyways, let's get into it. On screen now, I'll have the lesson guide for the rest of the series. If you would like to jump ahead or go backwards, you should look here and figure out which lessons you would like to watch. Also, since this is our last lesson in part 1, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a recap of part 1. So part 1, lesson 1, we talked about how to actually improve in Marvel Rivals and how to correctly utilize this series. And lesson 2, we talked about hero identity and how it taught us our individual job. In lesson 3, we talked about team composition and how it taught us how heroes work together. Lesson 4 was positioning and taught us where to stand. And lesson 5 was angles and taught us where to attack from. Now we're going to talk about the concept that ties all of these lessons together, which is space control. Space control covers 3 main topics. Firstly, we're going to talk about what making space actually means. Next, we're going to talk about taking versus holding space, and then we're going to talk about denying enemy space. If you haven't watched any of the previous videos in this part, I highly recommend that you go back and watch those videos because we're going to be talking about some of the topics that we went over in the past videos today. Anyways, let's get started on today's lesson. First off, we need to define what space is. Space is any area of the map that your team can safely use. The more space your team controls, the more options you have. I would mention that space isn't something that you permanently own and that teams are constantly fighting over it and giving up and then taking control of space. I'd like to think of space as sort of like territory in a war. Every step that you gain forward gives your team a little bit of space, and every step backwards gives the enemy team a little bit of space. Space gives your team opportunities, and less space means you have fewer options because you have fewer area to work with. So space actually matters a lot. Space matters so much because controlling space lets you take better positions, hold better sightlines, protect your teammates, pressure objectives, and to force enemy mistakes. And something I want to mention is most fights are won because one team controls more valuable space. So firstly, what does making space actually mean? Making space means forcing the enemy to give up an area of the map. You don't always need a kill. Sometimes simply making the enemy team retreat creates enough value for you guys to gain space. So a couple examples or ways that you can make space are walk forward as a tank, to pressure the enemy team with damage, to threaten a flank, maybe use an ultimate, you could force cooldowns, or you could even just take high ground. All of this are great ways to make space. For example, the enemy Punisher who controls the high ground gets dove by your Venom. The Punisher drops and you gained space, but there was no elimination needed. Another example is if a Psylocke goes on a flank and starts poking at the backline, now the backline has to back up and go behind a corner. With the backline backing up, the front line of the enemy team has no choice but to follow the backline in order to receive healing. So this creates space for your front line to walk forward with. Taking space means moving into an area your team didn't control before. An example is winning a team fight, clearing the high ground, pushing through a choke, or capturing the objective. Holding space means preventing the enemy from taking it back. A couple examples are watching entrances, holding angles, and maintaining pressure. All of this can be done in order to prevent the enemy team from walking forward. One common mistake that I've noticed when VOD reviewing lower ranked players is that some players will take space and then immediately abandon it, whereas the higher ranked players understand that gaining space only matters if you can keep it and do something with it. Sometimes the goal isn't gaining space, it's preventing the enemy from using theirs. A couple examples are holding a choke point, controlling the high ground, watching flank routes, preventing dives, or forcing enemies into bad positions. And like I said before in previous lessons, pressure isn't just damage. Pressure makes enemies uncomfortable. If they are constantly worried about dying, they're forced to give up space. And every role controls space differently. Vanguards will create space, lead pushes, absorb attention, and protect teammates. Duelists will threaten space, punish enemies who enter dangerous areas, and create pressure, either by the main angle, off angle, or a flank. Strategists maintain space, keep teammates alive, support aggressive positioning, and protects important areas. So we mentioned before that space is dynamic, which means it is constantly changing. We'll get more into this in later, more in-depth concepts such as Lesson 9, where we talk about the push and pull theory, but space changes with every elimination, ultimate, cooldown, rotation, and respawn. The best players are able to recognize these changes and alter their decision making accordingly. A couple of questions to ask yourself during the games are, what space does my team currently control? What space does the enemy team currently control? Where is the most valuable area on the map? Am I helping my team gain space, or am I just chasing kills? And if I move here, what space does my team gain? So for your homework, for your next 5 games, instead of asking, who should I kill? Ask, what area of the map should my team control right now? You'll start noticing that many of your eliminations happen naturally once your team owns the important space. Congratulations everyone on finishing part 1 of the complete guide to Marvel Rivals. You now understand the core concepts that every great player builds upon. Now we can get into part 2. In part 2, we'll focus on team fighting, learning how to make better decisions in the middle of every single fight. And in lesson 7, which is the first lesson in part 2, we're going to be talking about target priority. This is going to go over who should you attack and why target priority constantly changes in between fights. Alright guys, that's going to be the end of the video. I'm just going to do my little after lesson talk. I have been requested to make the video describing each character's sub-role, so I will be doing that soon, but I have to prioritize the series right now, and I'll be working on my series, and that's going to pretty much be at the top of my list. But if you want me to go through every sub-role, it is going to take me a while to get that done, so please give me some wiggle room with that. The requester for this new kind of episodes, they play tank, so I'll be making videos on tank and their sub-roles first, and then I'll transition to the rest of the roster later on. And yeah, obviously I'm going to split it into multiple videos, or else that'd be super long. And let me know if you guys would like to see more gameplay during the lessons. I think that having the gameplay is nice, but I also like having the slideshow up on the screen because I think it helps you guys learn a little bit more. But it's also pretty boring, to be honest, so let me know what you guys think. Also, now that we're starting part 2, I am going to be using much more vocabulary that we used in part 1, so make sure you're caught up on the videos so that it's not confusing for you guys. I am figuring out this whole YouTube thing, so please give me a little grace because I don't really know what I'm doing just yet, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop posting. I am going to be posting every single day. And if you guys want me to post any of my comp games, I can do that as well, just so you guys can see how I play. And I do also play other games as well, but I'm probably just going to end up saving that for my stream. And yeah, so if you ever want to see any of those games, you can always just check it out on my stream once I set up my link tree. I will put it in the description of each of these videos. But anyways, I think that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, please drop a like, a comment, and maybe even a sub. That would help me out a lot. Anyways, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.